What's good? It is Devine Deck Pod. I know we haven't recorded one since the playoffs, but we have a super special guest. Really excited for this. We're going to have the one and only Sean Reynolds, Padres bullpen. He is on the show right now. Shawnee, what's up? Excited to talk to you, brother.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me. Appreciate it. I don't do too much of this stuff, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I saw you're on IG, hit you up, and I mean, we've been following you for a minute now. Obviously, got traded with Garrett Cooper to the Pods back in 2023. Just excited to talk to you, man. I mean, we did been doing a little research on you. Obviously, you grew up in Southern California, Redondo Union High School. Was wondering how well we're gonna play a little game real quick called "How Well Do You Know Yourself?"
Okay.
I did do a little research, not a ton, but I'll start off real quick. First one should be easy. First Major League K. Who was the first person you struck out?
Adam Duvall.
Money. Yeah. Very easy, very simple.
Good
I think you struck
player.
out the side. I think you struck out the side that your first appearance too.
Yeah, a little, mixed in a walk and a hit in there. Just kind of checked all the
boxes.
Checked all the boxes real quick. Gave up the first hit, first walk, struck out the side. It was fun.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, Major League ERA or high school ERA, which is higher?
Which is higher?
Currently.
I mean, two very different sample sizes, but I probably have to say high school is just a smidge higher.
That's crazy, bro. Dude, I was on so Sean went to school in Southern California, Redondo Union. I'm on Max Preps. I look it up. You got a 1.08 senior year ERA. So I was like, everybody at home knows how crazy that is. But I had to show my brother's ERA or my brother's batting average same year. I'm looking at it right now. Mike Devine.
You a fucking cook, bro? What the fuck is this? Am I getting
sidetracked? I'm just looking it up. I'm like 256.
This is actually crazy. I know you didn't play shit in high school either.
What an insane stray to catch.
Dude, that was
first
wild.
5 minutes of the
John,
interview.
the best part about Matt is he literally didn't even have the opportunity to have an ERA, but he was on the fucking bench.
I was hurt. I had an injury.
Bro. You were warming up the bench. You walked yourself into that one. You did nothing.
I did. Well,
that's good shit.
I think I had 265, by the way.
Brother, we had to get the vibes going a little bit on the
absolutely.
The pod.
Gotta loosen it up. I love that.
Hey, but
I didn't know you two were actually brothers. That's hilarious.
Really. Yeah,
no,
you
might have said it in the message, but I totally I missed that part. That's funny.
Yeah. So we grew up in SD. I'm older, but Mike, I'll let you go.
Oh no, I was just gonna say we both went to Cal Poly SLO, which you're probably familiar with.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
And then I were just both up in the Bay Area. Yeah, I'm your year. I think I was 2020.
So graduated high school 16.
Yeah, and then Matt, you're a couple years older.
Yeah, I'm Unc for sure. But now, Sean, where were you committed to play? I saw your rank.
I was going out of high school. I was supposed to go to Rice University in Houston,
Texas.
Yeah, I don't really know who ended up, I should say, being my agent at the time. He went to Rice, and he had some great connections there. They've gone through a lot of coaching staff overhauls since then, but that was still when they had Wayne Graham running the show. So he kind of got my foot in the door. They saw some video. They had a couple coaches come out and watch me pitch, and then ended up getting the offer and was pretty stoked at the time, man.
Of course.
That was like, believe it or not, probably like one of three like sizable D1 schools that were interested. So
craaprady.
It happened. It happened all very, very late in terms of like the high school landscape, especially nowadays. Kids commit, kids commit in like seventh grade. It's unreal. But I came on the scene very, very late.
Were you doing scout team and stuff like for?
That's actually so. I got on a scout team. I went out to that Georgia tournament that the
classic.
Senior year, the U18, whatever it is, the perfect game one. That's
we weren't invited to that.
Yeah, we didn't get that.
100 teams, whatever it was, and pitched well, and then ended up getting contacted by the Braves. Were starting up a scout team. So
interesting.
Wait, so is that how it works? The scouts from the Braves hit you up. They're like, "You want to come play on the scout team?"
Pretty much, yeah. And scout
Which
ball
is
was a very like back then. It was kind of like just getting going, so it was very much like a freelance. Like, hey, can you play? We're playing Thursday at Glendale College RSVP if you can play, and then it was just like whoever showed up would show up. So
That's sick.
Once I went to one and I saw who I was playing against, I was like, okay, I definitely need to go to more of these things and like actually find out how I stack up against real legit, like next level competition. So it was fun, dude. It was a good opportunity. I enjoyed it a lot. And it definitely helped get me some exposure in terms of what ended up being, I ended up getting drafted that year, but that probably wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have went and played that fall.
When did you realize your senior year? Were you like, oh, were you just like on the bump every, week? Like, oh man, I'm just shitting on these kids right now. Or was it more like, you're like, oh, I might get drafted, but I'm probably going to go to Rice. Like, did you have an idea that like, oh, I'm for sure going to get picked like early?
No, to be honest with you, dude, like I said, it all happened super late in like November of my senior year. I didn't even have an offer yet from any school.
Wow.
So at the time I was just focused on, all right, let's play well. I played well in the fall. And like I said, I played well enough in scout ball to kind of like get my name out there. Like some teams were like, oh, who's this kid? Why is he not? Like when you look at a scout ball sheet, everyone's going to USC, UCLA, Pepperdine, LSU, Texas A&M, like all these big name schools. And then it's like uncommitted next to me. They're like, what? Like, what's the catch here? Like, what's going on? Grade. And it wasn't grades. It wasn't like, certainly wasn't work ethic. So they kind of just had, none of the off the field stuff, but normal, if some guy's uncommitted at that stage of high school, it's like something must have happened.
Yeah.
And no, it just was like, I was skinny as a tack and just didn't really like develop any kind of strength or power until like midway through senior year. And then all of a sudden started throwing harder and hitting the ball farther. And then it was it kind of happened real quick. But no, to answer your question, I think we had won our CIF, I think it was Southern section.
Yeah.
The year before. And I didn't really play a whole lot. Like I said, like I was good, but I wasn't like, I was just a decent high school player at the time.
Yeah.
Like I knew I had potential, but I was 6'7", $180 soaking wet, like looking like a used car, things that like wave in the wind.
Like the Gumby outside. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So I didn't play a whole lot and it was great to win, but I was like kind of bummed that I wasn't really on the field for any of that playoff run. So all I was really focused on was like, we wanted to win that year of our high school. I remember our high school team, we had half the team, if not more, was seniors, and we had all been playing together since we were freshmen. So even eighth grade, some of us. So like we all wanted to win so bad that I didn't even really pay attention to any of it until it was like almost time for the draft. And then we started having, once you get like scouts of pro teams walking into your living room and kind of sitting you down and being like, here's where we see you on our board and yada, yada. And like, then it kind of started to become like, oh, okay, this could actually happen. But that was all in like May and probably early June leading up to the draft. So before that, like I was just happy to be committed somewhere. And I had signed my letter of intent. And I was like, that was all I cared about at the time. And that, and just like trying to get us to win the whole thing was like the only thing on my mind.
It's badass, man. I mean, I love stories like that too, because you always hear, there's some guys, right, that you see your top prospects from the womb, right, since they were like 14, 15, like a Max
Bronny James,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and you see that, and then you also hear stories like yours, and I feel like people at home love to hear a little background, so I appreciate that. You mentioned obviously very, very tall guy, right? Have you always been the tall kid? Were you the kid in Little League that was like 6'2" that people were like, why are you already shaving? Or were you
quite the opposite, to be honest. I don't think I grew until I think I was taller for my age, but I was never like, you look at a photo and it's like all the heads and it was
up there.
I think sophomore to like junior year. So like that 12-month stretch of like first day of school sophomore year to first day of school junior year was, I think I grew like 7.5 inches. I was 5'10" my first day of school sophomore year. And then I was like pushing 6'6", maybe 6'7" in shoes junior year.
Jesus Christ.
And yeah, dude, it's just like straight up out of the ground. And of course, like when you're in high school, you're not. The last thing I'm doing is, I was 14 and going on 15 at the time. Like the last thing I'm doing is going and working out 5 days a week, especially like in the summertime. So then all of a sudden, I came back to school junior year, and everyone was like craning their neck to look at me. I didn't even realize what had happened. Everybody was like, "Dude, you're so tall." And I went home and measured myself like the first week of school. I was like, holy shit. So yeah, it's no, it definitely was not the prized basketball pick when I was a kid, because I was always a good athlete, obviously, but I never was towering over anybody.
Yeah.
So that's what we were going to ask next is we were looking at some of your old tweets, because the guys at the DSG, we do all of our research.
Sure.
We saw you're a big sports fan, which I feel like everybody at home who's watching this is also a big sports fan. Saw that you're an interesting sports fan, though. You really root for the underdogs. It seems like you're a big, big LeBron James and Tom Brady fan.
Yeah.
Obviously, growing up in LA, you grew up when they didn't have the Rams or the Chargers there. So I understand the Brady one. He always was winning. Question for you, though. In your opinion, you have to pick one. The arguable real GOAT of all GOATs. Who's better, LeBron or Brady?
Oh, man.
That's a tough one. I was thinking, I cooked with that question. I love you.
I don't know, dude. That's tough. It just depends on what your definition of, like, LeBron is the best player of all time at his sport. Like no one has ever been better at their sport than LeBron James is at basketball. Like, he's all-time points. He might be second or first all-time assists, top 10 in rebound. Like, no one else is even sniffing those numbers. And he has the 4 championships and, like, what did he go to, like 8 or 9 straight finals, something like that.
I believe
so just
10,
he's like been all-NBA, all-star every single year. Like, you can't replicate that. But, like, if you're talking about,
I wouldn't say you can't replicate it. I think Bronny's got potential, bro. I think
he's got about 20. He's got about 21 years for until we can have that conversation.
I don't know. But
sorry,
right.
I don't know. It just depends on your definition of like the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
That if the term greatest equates to winning, then
you're gonna go Brady.
you're gonna go, like, if I'm taking one athlete and one, like, if you can pick any sport and take one athlete to win you a championship in one game, it's gonna be Brady.
I feel
that. You think there's any shot Mahomes ever takes over the GOAT talk from Tom Brady?
He's well on his way right now.
He's cooking, man. He's the same as
I stopped betting against him.
Yeah.
Both monetarily and just for fun about 2 years ago. So there was a point where they lost to the Bucks, and I was like, all right, maybe it was just like the first one. He kind of like didn't really know what he was doing and got lucky. And then I don't think I've ever been more wrong about a sports take in my life, because he's unbelievable, man. Like, I watched the game Monday night. And it was the funniest part of that to me. What said the most was they went to midfield for the overtime coin toss, and Baker called it, and he got it wrong. And as soon as he got it wrong, you literally, like, the camera panned to him, and he just goes,
"Yeah."
I'm like, he knew right away.
He had to go for 2 right away.
As soon as they got the ball, it was over.
You have to go for 2.
They ran like 8 plays, didn't have no incompletions, no negative yards, and just like it's the most easiest touchdown in overtime you've ever seen. So,
it's crazy, bro. He really is Gen Z. He's like Gen Z Brady. You can't play against him. It's pretty insane that when Baker and when Todd Bowles didn't go for 2, like you mentioned, monetarily betting, I had Mahomes over passing yards. He was at about like 240. I think it was 253. So when he didn't go for 2, I was like, all right, not the worst thing in the world, right? But right when you don't go for 2, you're cooked, man.
It's just giving him a chance. I mean, dude, even like back to a couple years ago, he had like 11 seconds against the Bills, and got him from like the 20 to the other side of the field on 2 plays. It's like no one else is doing that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, we're talking champions, right? And obviously, you're a Redondo Beach kid. Did you grow up a Dodgers fan?
Did not. No. So
really?
the backstory to the Patriot fandom is my oldest sister who happens to be 20 years older than me.
Wow.
She lived in the greater Boston area for, since I can remember when I was growing up. So we would always take trips out there in the summertime. And so I grew up Boston sports, everything, but I was like super displaced because I was on the West Coast as a Boston fan. So you can imagine how fun that was when I would tell people that. And so we would go out there, and the first game I ever saw at Fenway, rookie Clay Buchholz threw a no-hitter in 07.
No way.
And that happened to be the year and I was already a fan before, like, with the whole 04 thing. And like, I became a fan through my brother and my dad. And then we started following the team really heavy. Yeah. And I was always super, I was the kid that would stay up past his bedtime watching SportsCenter, like, just to watch highlights. Yeah. So the first game you go to at Fenway as a 10-year-old and you see a no-hitter, like, that's so it. That's game over until I ended up being a pro, and then your fanhood of the game is much different now. But as a kid, it was Boston change? Everything.
How does the fanhood change? Because I can't put myself in the shoes of for multiple reasons.
Yeah. We saw the max reps. We saw the max
reps. I'm saying more so like, I've always wondered if I got drafted. All right, this is hypothetical, of course. I got drafted by the Dodgers. Would I ever be able to? Would I stop rooting for the Padres? And I don't think I could. I don't think I could.
Short answer is yes, because like once you're in the field, and like when I say field, I just mean like the whole world of professional baseball. Like truly, all you care about is one. Obviously, getting there first is like that's step one, and then that's hard enough. And then once you get there, like all you care about is winning a championship, or at least I can't speak for anybody else, but those are like the
normal mindset. Yeah, the normal mindset.
So there's no like I never grew up a Padre fan, but now I consider myself in the top 1% of Padre fans on earth. Because it's just the fan base and like how amazing of a city it is and the community there, and just like for the short time I was there this year, I fell in love with everything about it. And like I turned into a fan of the team I was playing for, which was really cool because you don't get that everywhere. Like if you play for certain organizations, and I'm not going to throw any names out there, but if you play for certain organizations, you're either playing to get traded or you're playing just to make it and then prove that you can play elsewhere and, survive the free agency period and then go somewhere else where you can compete. So like to not only play for, such a great city and fan base, but to also like truly be a fan of the team and like play with guys I grew up watching is, it's awesome, dude. But to answer your question, I think you lose the like childhood, like stars in your eyes feeling of the game when you put on a jersey, especially if it's for a team like you grow up never having an interest in, and then all of a sudden you're playing for them and they're cutting your check. Like, you're obviously going to care about them more than you care about any other team. So it's different though, for sure.
Yeah,
it's great to hear too. It's great to hear because growing up, right, we're huge San Diego sports fans, and kind of the teams. I know you didn't mention any names, but the Padres organization used to kind of be one of those teams, right? It used to be a team where weren't going to make the playoffs. Everybody knew that on opening day. A lot of our top kind of prospects, the Adrian Gonzalez's of the world, right when they need to get paid, we're going to let them go. And then when Peter kind of came and took over and kind of changed the culture, obviously bringing in Manny, the emergence of Tatis, things like that have been just so massive for the city. And hearing a player's perspective on that actually gets me really hyped, man. Because you could tell, right? That we have season tickets, places sold out every night, and it's
unbelievable, dude. Like I will die on this hill that there's not a better place to play 81 games a season than Petco Park. Like, there's nothing that can tie. And again, this is from a perspective of like, I grew up dreaming of playing at Fenway. And now that I'm where I'm at, like, there's not a better place on earth to play big league baseball than San Diego. Like, the city's immaculate. The weather's incredible. The fans come out every single night. Like, it could be a Wednesday night in July and you're going to get at least like upper 30,000s, maybe 40,000. And like, not even just the total number of people that come out, but how into it they are on every pitch, every big moment. Like, they're so engaged in the game that you feel like it's, I mean, this was my rookie year, obviously first taste of the big leagues, but from the time I got called up, I've made my debut in July. Every game from that point of like the halfway mark in the season, once the second half started, every game felt like a playoff game.
Right.
Because it was just like the intensity of, we would get a big hit or a big strikeout and the place would just go nuts. Like it was mid-October already. And it was so cool to be a part of, because like you definitely as a player, you feed off the energy. Like if you know that, you know, they're in it with you and like you got 40,000 people screaming at the other team and like going to go nuts for a big K or a big hit, like how can you not want to play better?
Right.
Well, it's awesome too, like just hearing that perspective. And you know, you mentioned like, you know, second half, right? You came up. I'm not saying you're the reason, but I don't know, best team in baseball when we called Sean Reynolds up. Pretty interesting to see what happened.
Yeah, I don't know if I can take full credit for that one. You can give me like maybe a max of 1%, but
Hey,
that's it.
dude, you were
we'll top it. We'll top it at that. But no,
I appreciate you being
humble,
dude. You were awesome this year, and I'm not trying to glaze. I'm not trying to glaze too hard, but dude, you were really
that's crispy cream glazed.
Yeah, and no, come on,
yeah, right.
Dude, you were awesome, dude. It's so fun to watch you pitch,
that.
and like obviously, seeing kind of how baseball has, you know, grown into such an analytic game. Me and Mike personally, like, I wish I knew a little bit more about like the advanced analytics, but you having Ruben Niebla as a pitching coach with the, you know, I'm not sure if you've been to the Point Loma like biomechanics lab yet or anything like that.
That place is awesome,
like,
dude.
How as a pitcher, right? Like growing up, I'm assuming when you were in high school, you weren't looking and doing all this stuff. So like, how has that kind of grown you as a pitcher? Because like, I'll go on Twitter and I'll see some of the guys I follow be like, Sean Reynolds has, you know, like 15 inches of horizontal drop on his like fastball. And like that goes way over my head. Like I can kind of understand what that means. But like, what kind of like with all the information you guys have now, how do you utilize that without it being like too much in your head?
Well, first of all, like you said just a second ago, like the staff is incredible. Like they do such a good job of one, like they're, you know, as early as we ever get to the field, they've been there for 3 hours and then some already. And like just the preparation that goes into every game and every series. And like we get a whole breakdown before every series of, you know, the other team and like what to look for and how to attack and, you know, just how to go about everything. And like, that just makes it so much simpler from a player's perspective of like, you get all this data and all these numbers and it's just condensed into this one little like spreadsheet, basically.
Awesome.
That's on your computer and you can just look at it like right before the game. Just be like, okay, boom, boom, boom. If I face X, Y, and Z, here's where we're going and here's where they struggle. And like so they do an incredible job. Ruben and Fritzy, our bullpen coach, are awesome. You know, they keep us locked in and keep it light when they need to keep it light. And obviously, you know, say whatever they need to say to lock it in when we need to. So it just makes it fun to come to work every day, man. And we just good news. The best news I got today was seeing that we just extended Shelty. So
yes, we were going to bring that up.
Very excited about that, man. He sets the tone from day one of camp last year. That was my second big league camp, and compared to the first experience I had and the second in San Diego, like it was it was awesome to be a part of. Just from the first time I heard him talk, I was like, this guy, one, means business, but two, is going to do it with the idea of like, we're going to have fun doing it and we're going to enjoy, you know, showing up and kicking somebody's ass.
Awesome.
And that's like that, you know, when you come into the field and you know that's already the mindset that's in the building, like you got no choice but to just follow the leader.
I guess hype, man. You can see it too. You could see it. Like Mike, what do you think? I know we talk about Schild a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's an absolute dog, man. I think he's got a hilarious vibe to him. He reminds me of Mr. Mackey from South Park, if you like the way he speaks a little bit, like a little MK, you know, a little MK, but he's a fucking dog. Love that guy. So happy we extended him. I think me and Matt can speak to this too. Like, obviously 2023, extremely high aspirations is like fans as well as probably the team, way more probably for the team as well. But like fans had super high aspirations, didn't necessarily reach them. Pretty hesitant going into this year, just on like, should we still be hyped? Way outperformed like everybody's expectations. And it's just this offseason, like obviously kind of a disappointing end, but like going into next year, like the fan base is just
can't wait, dude. Just can't wait.
It's gonna be awesome.
February,
it's gonna
like
be awesome for sure.
Tomorrow.
Do you have? Are you in any like fantasy football leagues with like the homies on the team, or is it more like
no? They got a league. They got a league amongst the players. But again, I mean, I was I think I had like 6 weeks total. So they were split. They were split into 2 segments. So I was not offended that I didn't get the invite this year. But maybe going forward down the line,
hey,
you'll sneak in. You'll sneak in.
Dude, if you keep it up, if you keep up like you did last year, you'll be commissioned like 2 years, bro. Those stats,
we'll
don't lie.
I don't think Crony's going to give that one up, but and I'm happy to let him. I'm happy to let him handle that.
Sorry, Mike. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, obviously, you kind of split some time, and you've been in SD for a little bit. What's the best spot that you've been to, whether food wise, scenery wise? What's the go to that you've seen so far?
Food wise, I would always hit up this little breakfast spot. I think it was called. It's called Achilles Coffee Roasters. I go there every morning that we were home. I would walk from the hotel down around the corner, grab a sandwich and a coffee, and then walk to the stadium. That was like that kind of became the routine. So obviously, and it was working. So I was like, I gotta stick with it.
Yeah.
But to go back to your question from a second ago, I think talking about 23, and I had been traded over mid-season and kind of didn't really know what to expect. I knew the organization after 22 had high expectations and the fans had high expectations, and in the middle of the season it was kind of turning into like the panic was starting to set in amongst the org and the fan base. And again, I didn't really know what to think, and I got to AAA and kind of got my ass kicked around the yard a little bit. So going into 24, from day one, like if you would have asked me what the end result would have been for us after the first day of camp, I would have said World Series. Like, not a doubt in my mind. And I know that a lot of the fans were surprised at how well the team did, but like just from the first workout of the year to where we ended up, like there was any player in that clubhouse that contributed in any way to the team this year. Like there was no surprise that what happened just because of the way that, again, like I said, everything was approached from the front office to the coaching staff, and trickled down to the players. And I think the biggest thing was that, like, I was first taste of the big leagues. Obviously, you don't want to coming in. You hear a lot of horror stories about how rookies are treated and yada yada, and like just from either back in the day or still now, depending on what team you're on. And there was none of that, dude. I mean, they still, obviously the veterans they'll have their fun and
of course,
and keep it light, but no, there was no feelings of like discomfort or anxiety showing up to the field every day. It was the most welcoming clubhouse I've ever been in, and it just made it fun to go out, and like it was fun to go to the field every day. Like it was genuinely like we were all excited to get there. The vibe was always great, whether we won or lost the night before. It was always like just the kind of communal mindset, at least from my perspective, was like today's a new day, and whether we won 10-0 or lost 20-0 last night, like we're going to show up and pummel somebody. So it was cool, dude. It made for a really, really fun culture to be a part of. And like you said, too, I'm just as fired up as you guys for next year, if not more, because it's going to be a blast. And we definitely got some unfinished business.
That was another thing. So obviously, end of the season didn't end as everybody kind of hoped. And Dodgers winning the World Series makes you feel like, man, that could have been the Pods, right? I think we were the best team that they played.
Sure.
I honestly still think we were better than them, but that's another. And I mean, you guys, but sometimes people.
Hey, you know what? People ask me all the time about like fans saying we, and to be honest with you, from a player's standpoint, have at it, because like. If fans didn't exist, then we wouldn't have jobs. So like it's a give and take, and you guys, like you said, like you were at the playoff games, like the fans are just as much a part of the team. As long as we don't turn into the Yankees where they try and like pry the ball out of the glove and think they're actually playing.
No line.
You got to know that line, but other than that, like the we thing, I'm all for it.
All right, hell yeah. But like, so perspective going into this camp, right? Especially for you, you mentioned 2023. Year of a lot of change, right? You're in the Marlins organization. You get traded. You said you didn't have as good of a season necessarily in the minors as you were probably hoping for. You go into 2024. You make your big league debut. You succeed at the big league level when given the opportunity. Going into 2025, obviously team has big aspirations. What are you kind of looking at for your role on the Pods in the 2025 bullpen? Is it something where you're like, I'm going to, work my magic to make myself, the setup man, or am I going to just get called for whenever? Like, do you have any kind of perspective on who you want to be in the bullpen next year?
No, not. I mean, obviously, I have personal goals of success and chasing always getting better. But as far as like any kind of roles or anything like that, dude, I will continue to sing the same tune that I have since I got here, and like there's whatever they need to help the team win. Like I genuinely do not care. Like it's whatever you need to help the team get a W and keep stacking wins. And like, that's all that matters at the big league level, dude. Like there's truly there's no greater feeling than contributing to a win in the big leagues. And like as many of those as I can be a part of, that's my only goal, is to stay healthy and be available as much as possible to help the team win.
I feel like the people that are watching this are going to get pretty hyped from this interview. Shiny Reynolds got all the answers.
Like a shot of coffee.
This guy's like ChatGPT, bro. Every answer is perfect, bro. This guy.
Hey, man, it was, that is truly like that mindset, I think, is what allows anybody that's successful at that level to have success. Like if you think about it too much in terms of like, oh, I want to do this, or I want to do that, or I want to be the closer, or I want to be this guy and that guy and have this many, this kind of stat and like all-star and all, like, dude, none of that matters. Truly. Like at the end of the day, those all are a byproduct of a good team, a good clubhouse environment, and 26 guys plus the staff all showing up on the same page. And like, that's what makes us able to go out and have success.
Yeah,
there's no, personal goals are great. And obviously, like I said, I have my own personal goals that I want to meet and exceed. But there's no like actual real goal besides helping bring a championship. Like that's it.
Totally. Sean, you're a tall guy, right? There's a lot of tall pitchers out there. We were talking a little LeBron James earlier, some hoop. If you had to pick on the team 4 other dudes to go on a pickup round with, just you 4 other Pods, doesn't necessarily have to be pitchers. I'm not sure if there's some good hoopers that are maybe in the outfield or even a coach, but 4 other guys, you plus 4, you're hitting like LA Fitness to get some runs in.
Right. All right. Consensus number 1 pick is Brian Howing.
Yes.
Wow, that guy used to be like a real hooper.
I played with Brian in Miami a little bit. Got to know him pretty well, and was ecstatic when I found out we traded for him.
Yeah,
and got him with Tanner. Awesome, that was awesome. Yeah, he's a dog, man. But no, he went to, I want to say, Louisville for baseball. Yeah. But in his words, I believe he had an offer from IU to do both, to play basketball and baseball. So that's, should tell you all you need to know about his game. So he's number 1. I got to go with probably Joe. Bring some height. Me and him down low would be fun. And then maybe have Jackson running the point. And I don't know, 5th guy. I have to think.
You gotta get a Matt. You gotta get a Matt out there. Just a real team guy.
We need a sharpshooter. I feel like either like Manny or Toddy or Pro or like one of our like position players could have a low key burner. I just don't know which one that is, but I know it's gotta be one of them. So any combination of those guys could be a good fit.
I love it, man. What a squad. Hey, well, I know we told you about 30 minutes. We're at 34. We'll wrap this up pretty quick.
You're good, bro. Take your time. You guys are good. I enjoy this. This is a lot more chill than I was anticipating. So no worries.
Yeah, that's why I'm always.
And I'm not doing shit else either. I'm about to go to probably lay in bed after this. I'm exhausted. I just started my off season, like true off season training at the facility yesterday. And after these first 2 days, dude,
Dude, so what's that training like for the people at home? Like, is it like 2-a-days? Like what, like, how does that go?
No, it's not anything that crazy. I mean, I'll go to the facility. I'll get there around like 7:45, 8 o'clock. And this is, again, it's like the first week of getting back into it. Yeah,
of course.
So I think it's, whatever, if I'm doing a upper body, lower body, running, whatever kind of workout you got. If I'm playing catch that day, like again, still easing back into it. So catch is going to start getting a little more consistent, but like a few days a week here and there. And then as we get deeper into it, it'll just be the same kind of workout plan. And then the deeper the calendar goes, and then when it flips to January, the days start looking more like your typical spring training day, just minus all the team activity. But yeah, it's just, playing catch, getting whatever work you need to in on the field, and then hit the weight room for a couple hours and get the body right, and get some recovery in, and then get out of there. Still, nice thing about the off season is if you get it done early, which is my my thing is like I like to have as much time as I need at the field, because I'm at the end of the day I don't have anything else important to do during the day except that. So like I'll take as much time as I need there. But if you do it early enough, you can spend a good 4 or 5 hours and have from noon to the rest of your day free to do whatever you want and enjoy your off season. So that's like kind of the balance of getting the work in, hitting it hard, and then still like going and doing normal stuff and having a good time until it's time to get back to, because those months go quick, dude. Like it's November right now, and then I'm going to look up in 2 months. It's going to be January. And then, spring training, I think, is like 99 days from today.
Crazy, bro.
Something like that. So yeah, it's going to go quick, dude, but I'm enjoying it right now.
So what are some things that you like to do in the off season outside of, baseball? I know we talked, you're a big sports fan like us, which, music to our ears, but is there anything else? I know a lot of people like to golf. I know a lot of people
I do play a lot of golf.
Nice.
I should be a lot better than I am for how much I play, but I think that's the story of everyone's life.
Exactly.
Play a lot of golf. Just moved to Arizona, so I'm going to try and get back into hiking fairly regularly. There's a lot of cool hikes around here, a lot of cool mountains and stuff to go do and see. And then there's camping. You can go camping up in the mountains, further out of town, a couple hours away. So probably going to do some more of that. And then other than that, dude, honestly, I just like to hang and, hang at the house and watch TV or, play video games or whatever it is.
We knew we liked you, bro. That's kind of that's the same. It's the same kind of
how
hobby
we do. That's actually all we do. To be
bro. There's really nothing else to do. You just enjoy yourself, whatever you're doing. No, and that's the beauty of it too. Is like it's the greatest job in the world because you get, we go for 9 months. If you're lucky, you're 9 full months on the job, and you get to have fun doing that. And then when you're in the off season, like you can do whatever you want. So it's the best of both worlds for sure.
I love it, brother.
Matt came up with this question. I'm gonna let it rip. You played for a handful of minor league teams in your career, right? Matt, and we're big WWE guys, or grew up big WWE guys, right? So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Royal Rumble, but if you had to pick the mascots, the Royal Rumble of mascots, we got the Clinton Lumber King.
Oh man,
the Botvia Muck Dog.
Yeah.
The Wichita Wind Surge. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
I like that one.
The Jupiter Hammerhead. The Pensacola Blue Wahoos. Or the El Paso Chihuahuas. Who's taking the gold? Who's going John
in terms of like a sheer mascot, and no disrespect to Chico, because Chico, I love you, but I don't know if I can take a Chihuahua to win a Royal Rumble. I don't know, dude. I mean, it depends on if it's like
what is a muck dog?
If it's in like a fish tank, then I'm probably taking the hammerhead shark. But
all right,
I think honestly, no, just because I spent 3 years there, ironically, while I was busy hitting $170 the first 5 years of my career, I gotta go with Batavia, the Muck Dogs.
I love
Shout out Batavia.
What is a muck dog?
That is an excellent question. I don't think anyone's really found a decent answer, but the best thing I can think of is like some kind of like junkyard dog, might be rabid, might not. You don't really want to mess with it or get too close because like it might reach out and snag you.
I like that, bro.
I think out of respect for the time I spent in Batavia, that I'd have to go the Muck Dog.
I love it. And you mentioned hitting there, and you came up as a hitter, right? And I know you probably bring this. All these interviews are probably like, oh, so what was like the change? I know that's a big. It's a big switch, right? Like, and I'm not like, it's pretty badass that you go from, being good enough to do both is crazy. And when was the conversation, when you really made the decision? Because that's a huge jump, right? You go from, a minor league, a single A, batter, not necessarily doing as great as you probably hoped out of high school, to now you're pitching in the bigs with a really bright future ahead. What was that first kind of, month or so changing into transitioning from hitter to pitcher? And looking back, like, is there anything that you were like, man, I did not expect that?
Well, so it started, the backstory to it is kind of funny. So 2019, I had a horrible year. Finished, right around like $170 or whatever my lifetime average was pretty consistent, on par with that. And middle of the season, I took like a super awkward swing and like kind of blew my shoulder out of its socket. Really? And missed like probably close to a month while I was rehabbing it. And then, but I tried to come back and just, when you're playing first base, like, you just gotta like just limp the ball wherever you're throwing it and don't really have to ever let it eat. So then fast forward to 2020, it was better, but still, like, I went into that camp, still first base, still position player. Arm was fine, but it wasn't like, there was nothing behind the throw. It was like, I would just shot put it over there and it was fine.
Limp Biscuit.
So then, COVID happens and we get canceled, and we were all kind of sitting around those first like 2 months wondering what the hell was going on and if we were going to play. And then as soon as we found out we weren't going to play, I had obviously still been training and staying ready and yada yada. And I kind of got a couple months to just like focus on like rehabbing my arm, and like I was like, I want to make it a tool again to where I'm not like a liability throwing the ball. And so started like messing around, playing long toss. And one day we were at the field and we were playing long toss, and I was like, my arm feels kind of good, dude. Like, maybe I'll hop on the mound for fun and just like let a few rip. And so I threw like an impromptu bullpen. And it was just like, it was something fun to do. I was trying to, honestly, at that point, I was really trying to just enjoy baseball again. Because I was at a point where 5 years of getting my teeth kicked in, like I really had a distaste for the game. And I was like, at that rate, like you still hold out belief and hope that you're gonna break through and find something that clicks. But at that point, I was just trying to find ways to enjoy the game and not be miserable going to work every day. So started throwing bullpens, just kind of to keep myself, lighthearted about it. And we opened the facility back up in like the fall or winter of that year. And the front office actually came to me about it. And they were like, hey, we know you used to pitch. What do you think about getting on the mound and like starting a throwing program? And, you're not done hitting, but we want to see what the arm looks like, just in case we're not really like convinced on, because I'd been making trying to make a lot of changes and swing wise in COVID and kind of get to a place where I could have success. And at that point, I was also happy I wasn't one of the 40 guys that we cut like a bunch of other teams, So like, I was just happy that I still had a job coming back into 21. So I was like, yeah, why not? I just can't hurt. And I knew that, like in high school, I knew that I was good. Right. Yeah. And I knew I was a good high school pitcher. And then I got into pro ball. And I think probably like my first full year, I was like, man, I didn't really realize, like, compared to the lower levels, when you got guys spraying the ball, like it's, their scatter plot looks like a shotgun blast. And I was like, man, I think I really could have like done well at this too. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, why not? I think I could have a shot. And so my first outing, I ended up hitting I was like 94, 95. And they were like, all right, that's it. Like, you're done. And I fought with them hard on it. I was like, I don't want to give up on hitting. I think I could be a two-way and yada, yada. And like had some like Walmart Shohei dream. And then finally they were like, my first like in game, we finally started the season like May of whatever was opening day, because we were a month late. And first like actual outing, I was up to 96, and then they were like, yeah, man, you're done. Like, you're gonna be on the mound and that's it. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So then I was like, all right, fine. Like, you win. You know, I kind of outed myself with the stuff and like the ability to pitch. And I was like, I honestly surprised myself a little bit. But then they were like, hey, man, if you want to keep playing, like, you're going to be a pitcher and that's it. Like, basically two options. Like, you can be a two-way or try and be a two-way and we can ship you to indie ball, or you can keep pitching.
Walmart Shohei, baby. Savannah Bananas.
Walmart. Oh,
you balling, bro. You got the dance moves for it or not?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would look terrible in a kilt too. It's not happening.
If obviously you used to hit, right? Now you're a pitcher. They got rid of the DH. One, were you bummed?
No. To be honest,
if you could face,
no, I had enough at bats, and like every pitcher is like, oh, dude, if you just give me one at bat, like I think I could. Like, no. I had over 1,000 plate appearances in my career. I had my fill of swinging and missing, so I do not miss stepping in the box at all.
You don't want to get up there one time and just let it rip?
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it would be fun. A big league at bat is a big league at bat, but there would have to be a tragedy on the field, and it would be the 20th inning for me to ever get that opportunity. So we'll leave that one to the actual professionals.
You won a home run derby, bro, at USC. I looked that up on YouTube, bro.
Yeah,
home run derby. Look at us doing our research.
Hey, well, when it was batting practice, I was your guy. You know, at 5 o'clock, if you showed up for BP, you would have thought I was Barry Bonds. And at 7 o'clock, you would have thought I should be bagging groceries at Albertsons. So it's kind of the best of both worlds right there. Or I should say the worst of both worlds.
Oh, man.
Hey, well, we're happy you made that switch, brother, because we watched you this year. It was fun, man. Oh, also, we're trying to come up with a nickname for you. I'm not sure if you have a nickname.
Good
question.
People were like, yo, I was hoping you wouldn't ask that question.
Good question.
We're pretty good
Big
with the
nickname guys.
We're huge nickname guys. They catch on too. Like Ha-Sung Kim was the Korean King. We had a lot. So we're trying to find a Sean Reynolds nickname because it's gonna catch on. This is a big decision.
So I do have one, and I would be sacrilegious telling you guys anything else because this is. It caught on pretty quick. I think it was my second time I got called up. We came back to San Diego after the Miami series, and I walked in the clubhouse the next day, walked into the gym, and Dylan Cease was sitting on a foam roller and just, you know, shooting the shit with some of the guys. And I walked in and I grabbed a water bottle, and Dylan looks up and he goes, "There he is. Skyline Reynolds."
Skyline Reynolds.
Dude, right away, like 6 people were like, "Oh my God, that's the best thing I've ever heard." So then from that point on, I don't know. I think I could count on one hand the times I heard my first name the rest of the season.
Skyline, brother.
Skyline.
Yeah.
Well, dude,
so
that's
that one.
I'm not gonna lie.
Get out. I figure this is as good a time as any because it's not. I don't think it's leaving.
That's
soon.
getting stolen. That's getting stolen.
Skyline Reynolds. You just. Hey, that's gonna be the whole Twitterverse. You're gonna be going in the games. You'll be hearing people when you run through the bullpen this year at Petco. People are gonna be like, Skyline.
Hey, also before we wrap this up, if you tell people you went on our pod and they're like, "Oh, fuck those guys," tell them we apologize for any negative tweets.
We're pretty nice, bro. We're pretty nice.
We're very nice, but you never know. You never know.
I was gonna say, I don't think I saw anything that was too dramatic.
Bro.
We're just mean guys. We're mean guys.
We get more shit for being nice than being mean. People are like,
I was gonna say that's kind of like. I'm sure Yankee fans think you guys are soft.
Oh, bro.
for like continuing to support the team despite maybe we lose a game and then they're not like saying to trade everybody.
Dude, we'll lose a game. It was the game in May.
NLDS, and we're like, come back, bro. It's the comeback.
Yeah,
we switched bars. We were in SF. We switched bars in the 7th inning. We're like, dude, we got to switch the vibes up. We ran across the street, went to another bar. Still didn't work.
Yeah,
people are. All I'm gonna say, Skyline. We got your back now too. So just
appreciate that.
Hey, we might not be able to physically fight, but dude, on the internet, there's no 2 dudes you want having your back more.
I appreciate that, fellas. You guys
and Matt and Mike Devine. So we got your back for life, brother. Last kind of question / message. First off, thank you so much, bro. This was honestly super, super fun. I feel like people who are watching this are gonna be happy to get to know you more and really like what they've heard. You seem like an awesome guy, and we really appreciate the time. Last kind of thing, message to Pods fans. Obviously, it's the off season. We're 99 days from spring training, tough end of the season, but what would you like to say kind of as you head into a big season for yourself and for the team?
Be excited. Be excited. All the excitement, I think you guys are kind of showing it as a representation of the faithful. Be excited, man. It's gonna be a hell of a year next year. I think, the expectations from a fan standpoint can be whatever they want to be, but I think certainly if you ask any of the guys in that clubhouse, and hopefully I'll have a bigger hand in it next year, and be able to help contribute to some more wins and bring home a championship. But I think if you ask anybody in that clubhouse, that's going to be the goal from day one, and we're not going to stop until that's accomplished. So be excited, bring the energy, just like you have every game for the past 3 years, and just get ready, man. It's gonna be a fun one next year. 2025 is gonna be a blast.
Hell yeah, baby! You're the fryer.
You see who's in the background there too, by the way. A little Braun action in Matt's TV screen.
It's a sign, bro.
Oh yeah, I see you working.
Is Legoat about to play?
I'm watching Celtics Warriors right now.
Hey, there it is. Winning isn't for everyone, but it is for us. So
hell yeah. Johnny Reynolds, Mr. Skyline himself. Appreciate the time, brother. Make sure to hit Sean with a follow on IG, Twitter, wherever, and buy his jersey too, brother. Hey, we'll be rocking that Skyline.
Hopefully.
Hey, but I appreciate your time, man. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your night, and thanks for everybody who tuned in. Peace.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate y'all.